brothers and sisters, soldiers and soldierettes, salute and thank those that have been with a brother. I appreciate you. Current subscribers, new subscribers, a great divine has a plan for us because we are listening to that inner God within, and it's great. It's great when we can do that, which can be a challenging journey, can be a challenging process. But if you stay studying, if you stay taking in truths, and truths are not always going to be positive about ourselves. Sometimes we got to find out those things where it gets in and make us dig, and that's a good thing. When we experience godly things in our lives that make us dig up and be true to oneself, so we can get rid of all the gunk and show that real God self, and then we can manifest that God self that's within. So I thank those that's been with a brother. Remember, there's many great brothers and sisters out here. Always got to keep that family spirit, and I give honor. And remember something I always like to say: if we're alive and breathing, we are back to conquer another day. And I honor our families. May all of our families prosper, and everything we touch turn to gold. And I honor thy ancestors, those who were righteous, those who fought to get a lot of us, that has that spirit that's in a lot of us, melanated brothers and sisters. And that's also within our families. And we get to a certain point and we serious on this journey, we'll know who's who. It's unfortunate that some individuals, are still caught in that conditioning, or have gone too far into demonic things or devilish things, have gone too deep in it, and it will be a very, very challenging thing to come out of. People better take karma serious. We have to learn. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to tell people, I'm not the sayer overall or think I know everything, nothing like that. But if one thing I have learned, and many of us have learned that are soldiers and soldierettes today, salute those who are really truly self-aware and not playing no games. We take karma very serious. And when you begin to take karma very serious, you will begin to pay more attention we will begin to pay attention to our walk. Now, a lot of us know this, that are self-aware, but I think some individuals, some now, need to be reminded. But I don't have to remind you, because that great divine will always remind us, because I always say that's who has to say overall. So that's what brings me to this topic. Supreme Being is the true boss. That Supreme Being is the true boss. And what is that Supreme Being? That great divine, God, the real God. Now, we're not just talking about any God. We're talking about the God. And there's many names attached to it, but there's only one Supreme Being. That force has been given a lot of names, and also have been used and exploited. And, God, I've said before, God is not a light switch. You can't turn it on when you need it and turn it off. You have to have that higher force, that higher Supreme Being. You have to have it in every part of our lives, our down times, our up times, our challenging times, and you will come through. The truth isn't always easy, but it's always best, and you feel better, and that's why you have to study being self-aware. It's brother or sister, young or old, just throwing some things out there. A lot of these things that are coming out my mouth right now, those that are truly self-aware to the pit of our soul, we know this. But, like I say, another brother just giving another perspective and adding to the culture, as I heard a brother say. And I wanted to speak on, that great divine, that higher Supreme Being. And of course, we're going to have a meditative moment, because, I like to look things up and kind of break it down. Now, I wanted to touch on spirituality and the connection to God. Now, I've been hearing this a lot, and like I said a few minutes ago, if I did say it, if I didn't, when we hear the truth, it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be positive. We have to take in those real truths too, that hit that gut, that really make you think, or hit that psyche, or that pineal gland, something that just open you up and really make you think. So, like I say, I've learned from so many teachers, even within my family, and just when you begin to learn, brothers and sisters, you come upon so many things. That's why I say again, that higher supreme being is the true boss at the end of the day. No matter how we try to go around it, above it, no one can override that higher supreme being. Period. I don't care who we are, how much money we got, attention, fame. That is the true boss. That's who has a say overall. So I had to get that out the way. So, and I'm saying that because I do a lot of solitude. I'm learning the importance of solitude, and I think it's important for everyone. And a lot of us know this. But the more we go up levels, the more we pay attention, the more we learn ourselves as we go along, we'll see why it's important to meditate, to think about things, because it keeps us from overreacting and seeing the reasoning in things, and not taking things personal. That's the most beautiful state one can be in. And for those in the beginning, work toward that goal of being stable in one mind. Practice on thinking before one speaks. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. Not that you're trying to be careful or you're paranoid. You're just keeping your mind in a good state so it won't be all over the place. And of course, taking breaks off social media. That's one of my biggest things, because that was a battle for me in the beginning of this Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff. And it's just me now. Everybody's road is different. Everybody's different, But if you haven't reached that state where, you don't let certain things get to you, you have to practice on it, study on it, so you can see the bigger picture and stay in this fight and fight the real enemy, and not our brothers and sisters out here that's reaching and teaching and putting in that work. Real like-minded reachers and teachers, real talk. Salute, because I appreciate brothers and sisters that speak their truth and speak their mind. It's a beautiful thing, So with that being said, like I say, I listen to a lot of reachers and teachers. I try to be honest, but to learn, not to, take or use or nothing like that. I just anything to help one grow so I can help another individual grow, whether it's brother or sister, online or in the world, my family, my children, because that's what it's about, helping one another. As I said on the last podcast, even though it's an impossible thing, I put it out to the universe. One wants to change the world. We don't think about the impossible. We just put it out to the universe and do what, brothers and sisters? As my son and I said on that last podcast, we just start working toward that goal. That's it. So, but let me get to what I want to talk about. I heard from my brother, and like I say, you got to hear those hard truths sometimes. You have to hear it. You can't, even if it make us feel some kind, no. Listen to that hard truth about ourselves. We need to hear that. Can't always hear it. Can't be something I always say, never get to a space where we think we're floating on no cloud. We got to take those constructive truths too. So let me get to it. I'm taking forever. I'm sorry. A brother was talking about spirituality, and I've heard a lot of brothers and sisters talk about this, and this has been kind of going around. And spirituality, they say, demons can be spiritual too, which is true. So, but one thing I know for sure, and a lot of us know, that there is a higher supreme being. And how does one know this? Because a lot of us have seen miraculous things happen in our life and happening in our lives. And those that are self-aware and had that third eye open, we can see things in other lives that they can't see. That's that power of that higher supreme being. And only way you will be able to see these enlightened things and not demonic is we have to be connected to that higher force. And not just any God, the God, not this false God. So let's get that straight. Because even when I wasn't self-aware, I always had that little attachment. I always, you know, knew that there was a higher force. It's always been there. I just, back when I wasn't aware, I didn't pay attention to, the signs and stuff like I do now. When you get to a certain level in your life, and I'm not talking about ages, because this could be young or old. When you finally do reach your truth, and you do start seeing miraculous things, and you start studying it, and you start understanding things as we go along on this walk, things will begin to align. The universe, the stars, everything will start lining up. And it's not easy to get to this point. You really have to be in tune with oneself. I mean, deeply. And it's something else. I'm going to finish what I want to say about the spirituality. It was something else I said on a podcast with my son. And I hope those enjoy it, the father and son discussion that my son and I had. Lord Lamont, his name is Aaron, but AKA Lord Lamont, that we did on Father's Day. And we're going to do more of those. And I had a ball this weekend. It was great. And when you just give yourself, give yourself, when we have those talks, those solitude moments with that great divine, that force will show us so many things. And this is any brother, young or a brother or sister, young or old, but we have to take being in tune with oneself serious. Like I said, I told my son that we have individuals that study, that take meditation very, very serious, and meditate, can sit there and not move, speak, keep their eyes closed, and don't say anything for 30, 45 minutes. That's a powerful thing to be able to do that. Because like my son said, we're living in I'm going to see how he said it. He said an ADHD society. I think that's what he said, if I said it right. And that's what we got to keep ourselves from getting caught up in, and stay connected to that supreme being. Because at some point in our lives, we're going to find out that supreme being is the true boss. So I'm going to go back to the spirituality thing. Now, I have learned that demonic entities can be spiritual. I have learned that. And we do have those that don't believe in God. And I've always, I've learned, I have been taught by teachers that we don't believe in the word belief, because we have to know. So I'm speaking the worldly way, the traditional way. So you have those that say they don't believe in God. That's not me. I know that there's a supreme being. I explain that. I talk about the great divine on every podcast. And yes, we are connected to that higher force, whether we know it or not. It doesn't matter what we believe in or what we think. We can't. It's kind of funny how people think they can shape, the way God is. God, the supreme being, is the ruler of the whole universe. So those that don't believe in God can sit down, shut up. You have some say over your life, some of that free will that supreme being gives us free will. But if you're evil and all that, and you're toxic, and you're messing up the balance that supreme being has set, that karma's gonna come for that ass. Because no one can escape karma, and I don't care who we are. So that I agree with that brother on. He say that people say they're spiritual. Yes, we are spiritual, but we also have a God self. That it connects to that supreme being. Because he's right. I agree, as well as many other brothers and sisters. Demonic things can also be spiritual. So we have to be careful of that. And that's why it's important to be positive. Remember, I'm not just talking about being soft positive. I mean, just positive is a choice, and we also have to be a realist. We do have to be connected to the higher force, because, and I tell you another important reason why we have to let that supreme being be the true boss, because we have loved ones. I always say this, loved ones. We have family, children, significant other. We have those that engage and listen to us speak. So we have to be careful of the energy we harbor inside. It's very important. I talk about that on every other podcast because impulses and instincts and things we harbor within are very, very important. Even when no one else is around, it's still energy. We are energy. We are like walking batteries. We still give off vibrations, even when we're not speaking. How many of us have been around others, and a lot of teachers talk about this, and don't say anything and can feel vibes from them, can feel energy from them. That's what I'm talking about. Even from a distance, still have good energy. Even if we hear some constructive criticism or something, it might make us feel kind of funny. See why we're feeling funny. This is what a lot of us, now I'm saying, well, some of us, not all of us, because I'm not trying to act like I'm this big ultimate teacher. I'm just giving examples, suggestions, advice. This is where I think some of us go wrong. When we feel something that make us kind of tingle inside or kind of touch a nerve, see where it's coming from. Study that area. Whatever it is. It's just a small part, but remember, little small things can fester into big things. Thus, social media, celebs, TV, politics, things like that. Look at some of the things that some of these artists are experiencing. Just look at their lives. It's like you don't even have to research anymore. The evidence is right there in front of us. And you can see those who have detached from that supreme being. So I agree with that brother that said that, we can be spiritual, but we got to be connected to that God force. The real God, not the artificial God, not this God people try to make up. No, we talking about the ultimate supreme being that created all of this and has to say, because I would like to say to myself, I'm not stupid. I know who that higher supreme being is. I wouldn't be in the state that I'm in if I didn't stay connected to the higher force. So those who go against that higher force, you're a fool. So like I say, no one can escape karma. So I hope I touched on that good. I just wanted to touch a little bit of spirituality because, we have to be careful. We spirituality comes with connecting to that supreme being, and he will give you the ultimate righteous spirit, but you got to stay connected to that higher force. And I wanted to have a meditative moment, and I think I actually did the definition of supreme being before. And I like doing this because it gets in your subconscious. And like I say, thank those that's been with a brother. And, remember, we are not followers. I'm going to say that from time to time. We're going to change that narrative. We got leaders and teachers out here, and students too, because got to keep a student spirit, learn things. That goes back to what I just said about the constructive, not even constructive criticism, just hearing real talk, real truth, and being able to accept it and not taking things personal. That's when we've grown. That's when we grow. That's when we elevate. So we're going to have another meditative moment. And I just wanted to read a small summary of that supreme being. Definition: supreme being, the supernatural being conceived as the perfect and excuse me if I can't say this right, omnipotent and originator and ruler of the universe. Hear that? Ruler over the universe. So it doesn't matter what anybody tries to do. That I always say this, that great divine has the say over all. So like I say, I'm not stupid. I know who that, I know what, and I don't even label it, because how can you label something that powerful? It's not a he or a she. It's a being. It's something that none of us can see. So how dare someone think they can manipulate and undermine? Woo! You're just, and give in to the devil. I just, whoo, and like I say, I'm not perfect. Made a lot of mistakes in my life. But one thing I've never done is sold my soul. So that's why I say some of us make a mistake, let ourselves become desperate, and we think we want something. Remember, that supreme being gives us what we need, not what we want. And also that supreme being covets those who are righteous, those who suffer righteously, and are honest with themselves. Because why? That is a vibration. That is energy. That's what that supreme being goes off of. Also, the vibration, the ruler over the whole universe. So trying to go against that supreme being is like going up an icy hill. You just gonna be running in place. And it's sad. I don't make fun of individuals that's in this vicious cycle, because social media can have us like that. TV can have us like that sometimes. The way of the world, you have to be careful. Any of us can easily get caught up in the vicious cycle of social media and the gossiping and celebrity distractions and all this kind of stuff. That's why you have to be analytical. I like to say a lot. Learn to observe, step back, meditate, assess, reset, and keep ourselves straight, and take in them real truths, So we take in them real truths so we can spew out real truth. And always and forever, always know, brothers and sisters, supreme being, that higher supreme being, is the true boss. I don't care what happens, what you try to make happen, what we do. We have to work natural, and we can't force things and let that force do what it do. We can't do the work for it. We are not God, but we do have a God self. Those that are divinely connected and not playing games and for real on this walk. We know, we feel it, sometimes see it. And it's a beautiful thing. And like I say, when we're connected to that higher force, those we are connected to will also be protected and get those blessings from you also. That's why it's important to stay connected to that supreme being, because of our loved ones, those that engage and listen to us speak. Again, it's very, very, very important. Emphasis on important, what we harbor within. And like I say, that was a challenge for me decades ago, God, but like that supreme being knows who's true and who's not. Why wouldn't it? It's the ruler over the universe. So you just got to stay with it, brothers and sisters, and those in the beginning, you have to stay with it. Great divine always got some down the road for those who are righteous. A lot of us have experienced this time and time again. We've seen so many miraculous things happen in our lives. It's almost normal, because we have coveted that supreme being, and that supreme being has coveted us. Those who are righteous, those who suffer righteously, we always will come through, and we come back and do a little introspection, and we pass that power on to the next soldier or soldierette. Salute. And I want to read that definition one more time for those who want to go against that higher supreme being. The supreme being, man, I so thank that higher force for blessing my children, my family, and the reachers and teachers out there, the real ones. Salute. All right, the supreme being, the supernatural being conceived as the perfect and omnipotent, if I said that right, and originator and ruler of the universe. The ruler of the universe. And you know how massive the universe is, brothers and sisters? As I said on a recent podcast, it's massive, massive. So those that's living in a devilish, demonic world, I really feel sorry for them. I really do. They have no idea what they're effing with. Nothing is greater than that higher supreme being. The devil has no power. The only power the devil has is the power that we give it. So we pay it no mind, ignore it, and stick to that great divine. The devil won't even, the devil be afraid of you, because the devil is afraid of the truth, and the higher supreme being is the truth and the true boss, hands down. So that was my thought. That was just some things that was in my spirit and wanted to talk about. And like I said, my son and I will be doing more father and sons discussions. I really been enjoying those. And like I say, thank those that's been with a brother. I appreciate you, and because it was a time I didn't speak, and there's a lot of great brothers and sisters out here. Emphasis on real, great reachers and teachers. Salute. So the fact that you even took the time to listen to a brother, I appreciate you, and this is my son on the banner, my son Ethan on the banner. He's 8 years old now, but that's when he was a baby. And I put this on my banner because that's how I think of the higher supreme being. That's how he thinks of us. That's how he covets us. See how I'm holding my son and I'm hugging him, I'm holding him, I'm protecting him. That's how the supreme being thinks of us. That's how the supreme being does those who are righteous. He covets us. He protects us. Just look down through your life. Those that are righteous, that have been doing right, have turned their life around and have taught others. Just look at the miraculous things that force has done and is doing. And on this banner here, that's what that great divine does for us. That's what that supreme being does. It covets us. So those that are righteous and mean well and not no evil demonic shit. So stay strong, brothers and sisters. Keep teaching, keep reaching, and keep this momentum going. And again, I'll say, I don't care what's going on or what the evil entities of the world try to mix and mangle and confuse. The higher supreme being is the true boss, hands down. So thank those that came in to another edition of EBX Discussion. I appreciate you. And I say once again, that great divine has a plan for you. And salute to the real like-minded reachers and teachers out there. Emphasis on real, because I have learned from some. Thank you. And I honor your family. I honor my family. I honor my children, their mothers, and brothers and sisters. Please keep that ultimate peace in your part of the world, wherever you are right now. Salute.